Well, it's my honor and pleasure to introduce, okay, Jim Tobin. And I wrote down just a few notes. I have put on Facebook on our site his actual bio that he sent, and also on my site. But I wanted to add some things that I know about Jim. First of all, he works at CMU with his wife, and he explained to me that he does a lot of video for CMU. And he's a multi-talented person. A lot of people don't really know that it's not only he reminds me of Da Vinci in a way, because he loves to, well, seriously, he dabbles in a lot of things. Like, he's a pretty good fisherman, number one. He's also into technology, art, and a wonderful musician. So he's our vice president as well, and we couldn't even do all the different things we do with our technology without Colin and Jim and Deb. She's also amazing. Yeah, they're an awesome duo. It's like Batman and Robin, you know? Anyway, in his bio, he's a member of Pittsburgh Society of Artists. He's also a member of West Hills Art League, Beaver Valley Artists, and North Hills Art Center. So that's 5 things. 5, he's a very active person. They also own, and he's a co-owner with his wife, Tobin Studios, where they teach music lessons, and I'm sure they display their art. I haven't been there. And he has 2 wonderful websites. And he's gotten awards and had a one-person show at the Ogilvy Institute in Wheeling at the Stifle Fine Arts Center. And he has work at the Bottle Brush Gallery in Harmony. And he's, had a joint show with his wife at the Merrick Art Gallery. And so he exhibits not only in Pennsylvania, but also in West Virginia. He's multi-talented as far as photography, digital art, drawing, painting. So it's my honor to have him tonight explain his wonderful work.
Wow, thank you very much for the introduction, and pull these slides up here. So yeah, I've been an artist all of my life, although I guess I didn't know it when I was younger, and occasionally would get into trouble as a child, drawing in school books and that sort of thing. So I'm going to go through some slides with some imagery in it, and I'll talk a little bit about, the different tools I use and stuff. So there we are. Can we see, and everybody see that okay?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm from Beaver County. I guess I don't really need to do the background there. I think Mary covered it really well. I had an excellent art teacher in high school. Her name was Judy Wessel, and she really encouraged my abstract side, which was great. And, really enjoyed the class. And, I continued to do art over the years after that. And I was first exposed to Adobe products through work. And this was like 20 years ago, and they were really slow and painful, like Photoshop and all of that sort of thing. But as computers got better and all of a sudden you could have all this stuff on your phone and your iPad, I really started to get into doing digital art, and started getting my work out there. Deb had us join the different art leagues around the area. And I have like the web pages and stuff, but I won't go there today. So let's talk digital. So, what do you consider digital art? I just have anything you can do in the real world, you can do digitally. And I think the bottom thing's from Google or something, but a digital artist is just an artist who makes use of digital technologies in the production of art. That is the boring definition. There's my car there. That's currently at Merrick, and I think somebody bought it.
It's sold. Yeah.
It's kind of thing. I'll miss that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, before I get into like the tools that I use and stuff, let's talk ideas. You have a phone, you have an artistic eye, it's a great time to embrace digital. I like to create with photography. And the other thing I like to do is, use other mediums. Like if I do a painting, I might put it into a digital form and play with it more, and without that way I don't ruin the painting or whatever. It's kind of a 2-for-1 deal. And I like to doodle and sketch, sometimes even when I'm at the meetings here, although tonight I was paying attention. And do any of you play in the digital world? I know Linda, who the new member there, she does a lot of digital, and Deb's been doing some, but it's kind of fun to get into. So this is just an example. Ideas everywhere. It was a chilly evening. We were at a restaurant or something. We came out, saw the tree and the moon and the church in the background, and snapped the picture. And then when I got home later on and was kind of lounging around, went in and just started messing with it, playing with the color and everything. So whoop-de-doo, it's photography. Hey. But it doesn't have to just be photography. You can paint, you can draw digitally. These were sketches that I did on my phone that I put on my computer later on to do the final touches. And here we go. So here's an example. It's Adobe Sketch. So, you have it says graphite pencil, ink pen, marker brush. Sometimes I think they kind of feel like when you're dragging your finger or the stylus along on your phone, it almost feels like the way it drags the color and everything, it feels like pastels almost. But this one here, you can see it's kind of like real basic what it started out as, just some kind of scribbling and stuff. And then, many layers later on, it ended up the picture on the right, which is, it's on its way to Greensburg right now to be in a show. Let's see here. We get a nice little pop noise. Here we are. Here's another one. This one's at Cranberry right now. And, I was goofing around. I was watching TV and, really sloppy. It started out really sloppy. Like you can see, that's how it progressed. And you can see how it ended up. I wouldn't let it die because I kept going, this is terrible. But I thought it turned out pretty well, but when I was in the early stages there, it didn't look like it was going to really amount to much. And, again, it's just kind of like you keep sketching on there and refining it. You can make the lines thicker and thinner. If you put the line on too thick, you can actually just go in and shrink it and stuff. So, and let's see here. This one was just a photograph and sort of painted onto it a little bit to change the coloring. You can't see it real well, but there were electrical wires in it that I had to take out, and just kind of end up with kind of a fun picture. That was the supermoon. This one here, I'm not paranoid about going back to the city at all. But, I was not on drugs when I made it. But it started out, I was playing with the background. I had all that first and added all the other stuff in later on and warped the buildings. It kind of gave it kind of a funky look. But yeah, there's a couple like that. But sometimes it is just photography, this one here. I don't know if I know a lot of you folks maybe went to Edinburgh or have been in that area, but I took the picture of this building because I think they're going to tear it down sooner or later. It's the old canoe rental place, and it was I just took all the color out except red and printed it on metal, and it turned out really well. And the other thing, as I got more into digital, I discovered that it's still me. The first image there is something I did I think I was in high school. It's a really early one. And the other one's from maybe a year ago, but the trees ended up almost identical, even though they were, the first one was like a palette acrylic thing. And the second one was all digital, just kind of goofing around. But I was like, my trees look like my trees from all those years ago. So, you can go digital and you can keep yourself in it. It's not like some people are like, oh, computers are cold. And, but you can still, if it's in your head, you can still do it. These examples here, the one is my grandmother's house in McKees Rocks, which it doesn't look that cheery in person. I had to kind of jazz it up. And the other one, it was just a single picture of a steel mill in Wheeling. And I used cloning, which, you grab a little piece of the picture and drag it across and it multiplies. And then I stuck a tree in there because I like to do a little, digital Bob Ross and put a happy tree in where there is. Let's put a tree by this hill. So the tree's from my yeah, and that's just like an image of it's the clone stamping tool, and again, the picture here was just kind of like sort of a boring picture, and I was playing around with it, sort of multiplying the guitar a little bit, send in the clones. Here you go. Ideas are everywhere. Have fun. So this was a demo we were at, and Gaddy was doing a great job, and I kept thinking, like, it's like the man and his creation. And I was originally going to give the head on the pedestal his head, but I thought that was creepy. But I don't know. I think it turned out creepy anyway.
No, because this isn't creepy at all.
This isn't at all.
I don't know if I ever showed him this one. I think I did. And I know Deb made art with him too, but he's very engaging. But I thought it looked a little bit like Captain Picard too. This is another one. This was a mill down in Wheeling. They have a gallery down there, and they were doing a show when they closed that mill and they were tearing it down and everything. They were doing a show, and I went down and grabbed the picture, and went home and did a lot of altering to it. And I think this picture is hanging in the mayor's office down there. Kind of fun, but it was really something to see the scale of that thing being torn down. Like we live in Ambridge, and our mills have been down for a long time, but to see them actually taking the thing down. Again, have fun with digital. We were staying at a creepy haunted hotel. Colonel Mustard was on the wall behind me, and I thought, I should make him look like me, make it even, even creepier. So, I do a lot of, I goof around and go on Instagram and Facebook a lot and post these kinds of things. I don't think anyone would want to buy them. That's from a few years ago there. My hair actually has color in it. That's different. This one here, we were kind of snowed in, the entire last year, but it was a winter day and something to do. And this was just a little bit of photo.
I have that one, Jim.
Oh yeah, you bought that one, huh?
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's the same one. I just went and took it off the wall as you were doing that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I forgot you bought that one. Yeah, that one went to Cranberry, and Vicky picked it up. And again, it was like just being snowed in and all, and this one, just some photo manipulation. Like I liked the photo, but I thought it was kind of blah. So I, tried to play with the colors and get it to pop a little more. This one's in Erie right now, and it's also on my car stereo because it lets you put a picture on there. But we were just at this event, and it was come and see. It's one of the original Jeeps made in Butler County, and it was really cool to walk around it in the garage and everything. But when I took the picture, I messed up because I cropped part of the tire out. So when I did my piece there, I had to recreate the entire, like the front tire there. And I blew it up really large, and I was clone stamping and getting it to do that. And that took a good while. And then, I had to get rid of the other car and the garage and everything. So there's the Jeep. This one, being a social person, I was at an opening and I looked out the window and took the picture and started goofing around with it. I wanted to go for sort of like an old timey look. This was up by Mount Washington, but I didn't like the golf station in the front, so I cloned the buildings to get rid of it. Super Church here. This was cloning the steeples. Not trying to make a statement. Some people are like, "Whoa, that's dark," and I'm like, "No, it's just I was just playing around." No statement there. There's some clone trees with sort of a sketch, and then combined with a sunrise photo. That's what's fun with digital too. You can take bits and pieces and sort of collage them together. Here we are. There's a pastel and a guitar, and then I ended up with that. And I don't know. I have a dog, so when I take the dog out, I have my phone out and taking pictures of stuff. That was a particularly cold morning, and he was taking a long time to go. So I was able to get the picture and messed around with it. I like guitars a lot, so I try to work them in. But, these were 3 different photos put together, and then I kind of cloned the neck for the background. a guitar ceiling. That's the ceiling at Tobin Studios. There's not a guitar hanging there though, unfortunately. And then, I had that picture of the building, and I needed to do a promo picture for the band. James Tobin and the Dewey Decimators is the band, but I thought we would look good in front of that building. But other than Deb and I, no one's ever been near that building from the band, but made that for a poster. If you can't take the guitars home with you, you can take pictures of them at least and bring them home. This one, whoops, I went too far. This one is clone stamping and combining photos. I was trying to go for like a big metropolis thing here. And this piece sold, and it's in Chicago somewhere right now. But we printed it out on metal, and it came out really well. A Strange Sky. That was just kind of a weird day. I just thought I would grab the picture there. So this would just be sort of an example of, some of the stuff you can do on the tools. So this is the dog out in the snow. Obviously, the leash kind of ruins the picture. And so we had to get rid of that. But, this was all done on the phone, other than like the heavy lifting, which I'll get into later a little bit. But, you can just go in and kind of erase the leash from the image and zoom in a little bit there. So we had to finish losing it. Adding a color filter, and then we sent it over to the laptop. Whoops. There we are. So I have Photoshop. So what I have is Adobe. It's called Adobe Suite. So it's like Photoshop, Photoshop Mix, Photoshop Sketch. It's just a bunch of programs put together. And it's nice because you can have it on multiple devices. So I'll work on my phone, and you can just drop the whole project, and it'll go over to your computer, because you kind of have to put it on the computer at some point if you're going to print it. And here we took the picture, and we added a filter. Rough Pastels was the filter, because it's a dog. Get it? Rough Pastels. Ooh, tough crowd, tough room.
Oh man, you're here all week. I'm laughing.
No, it's good. Yeah, I appreciate that. But Deb's like, don't encourage him. So I wanted to make it look more like a picture, like a painting, than just a picture of the dog. And here we are bumping the vibrance up and the saturation, make the colors come out a little more. And this is big. If you do anything digital, I think I have it in there a few times, but the magic number is 300. You want to be 300 dots per inch or 300 pixels per inch, because otherwise, if you go to print it, it's not going to work unless you make it very tiny. But, in this one here, I have it's like a 16 by 20, but what you really want to do is go bigger than the size you're going to do. Go big or go home. If you're thinking you're going to do 16 by 20, maybe save it twice that size or even larger than that. Because as long as you have space, or you can buy a hard drive to store all the stuff on, the bigger the better. Because again, when you go to print it and somebody likes it and they're like, "Hey, I want it in this size," and you're like, "Uh-oh, it doesn't blow up to that size." So you can kind of take care of that stuff in advance by having it saved as a humongous file. And
hey, Jim.
Yeah,
It's Mary. I wanted to ask a question. Where do you get your things processed now that I knew you and many people went to Costco, and now it's closed? Where do you go now?
That is a good question. I think I have that in here, but you can still do Costco, just not in person. That's one thing. But there's a lot online. Like, if I'm having a hard time, I'll just go on Google and type it in. Print photo to metal. That sort of thing. A friend of ours bought his own printer, which I'm not making that kind of dough yet, but you can buy a massive printer that'll do that kind of thing. And then this one is, what if I don't want Photoshop? I don't like Adobe. What are these Adobe people? So there's a lot of apps available, on your phone, Android or iPhone or whatever. You can go into a little store that's on there and, try them out. The only question there is, and I got burned a couple times because I would download these apps that were like artistic, and you could make stuff look really, really cool, but you couldn't blow it up. So, you know, it looks great on your phone or your iPad, but then you go to print it or whatever, and it's like, but it's good for, you know, websites and stuff. I just downloaded, it's called Procreate, and it looks really cool, but I haven't really had a chance to do anything with it yet. But
thanks to
that'll
Mrs.
be,
Kennedy.
yeah. We heard about that from Linda the other day, and we were looking around, and they had it for my iPhone. So yay. Break up the monotony of Photoshop, because I don't want this to be a Photoshop infomercial either. Like, get your copy of Photoshop, and we'll throw in this coffee mug. You know, again, you want to be careful. Like this image here, I spent a ton of time at it. We were at a coffee house watching a band, and I was just going to town, and I thought, oh, this thing's gonna be great. And then we went to print it, and it did not turn out great printed. I have like a large blurry image of that, which I don't know. I might try to save it by like maybe trying to paint it or something. But anyway, so now you have your image. Now what do I do? You can't hang your phone on the wall. So yeah, most of the stuff I do, I print the metal. I just think it looks really cool that way. I have on here that I may look at acrylic. We've done a couple onto acrylic, and they come out pretty sharp too. And again, we
backstage.
Yeah. That was a couple summers ago.
Yeah.
That was a really nice place.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. She met us through this art league. She was at the show. Vicky hooked us up.
Yeah.
It was a fun night. We were down there, and I forgot what was going on. There was something going on downtown that night because we got to walk all around and stuff too. But
the cultural
it was cool.
Art walk.
Oh yeah, it was during the art walk. Yeah, so it was cool. You know, and again, I try to make stuff look a little different, try to make it stand out a little bit. You know, there it is. Google print art to metal. You can find options out there. Some big box retailers do it, like Walmart. They'll do canvas. I don't know if they do metal, but they weren't too bad. Like in a bind, we've run into Walmart and gotten things printed. And again, if you're trying somebody new, maybe you go with a small size so you don't get burned, just to make sure they do a decent job. This one here, this was real basic. I just printed this at home onto some decent paper. It was for a coffee show. I like coffee a lot too. Those of you that don't know me, but you know, it was printed on a, you know, decent paper, and then frame. We had the window frame here, and I threw some coffee in the front for some coffee art. So here we are, photo framing canvas. We've done some canvas. I think this came from Costco as well, but turned out all right. You know, again, 300 DPI is imperative if you're going to get it printed out like that, so you can display it. Here's another idea. So I have this little instrument. It's kind of like a dulcimer, and it's from Canada. So I thought I would put Canada in the middle there. It's actually Edinburgh Lake, but it's close enough to Canada. Near enough. If you're dealing with humans, you want to get permission from the human before you start snapping pictures and doing that sort of thing. You could get punched probably, or worse, I imagine. But this was Jenny. This was at BVA, and she was modeling, and I spoke with her and her mom, and I said, can I, you know, play around with this? I'll send you anything, you know. And what I tried to do too is kind of distort it so she wasn't so easily recognizable in the pictures. And, you know, I had this, I think it was in a PSA show, and they ended up buying a copy for her fiance, who's in the military, and they sent it to her, or sent it to him. So that was kind of cool. You know, and again, it's, I don't do a lot of plein air, but you know, if you pick your spots, you know, like if you haven't been to Old Economy Village on a nice day, there's some interesting visuals down there. You know, so that was it. Got my shot, worked on it a little bit. This one was just sort of enhancing colors and stuff. It was, you know, you could see the color in the photo, but it really didn't pop. So, you know, I went in and played with it on Photoshop. This is my imaginary family at Merrick Gallery. I haven't been there in a while, but whenever I go in, I try to take a selfie with them.
That's so cute.
the one night there, I actually I swapped places with Dad there. I put Dad down in front. That was one of the nights. It was a very intense, heated discussion going on at the meeting, and I needed to decompress a little bit. So did that guy. I was there last week. I forgot to do that. This was kind of like, double dipping here. Deb and I were doing fabric mosaics for a while, and I thought it turned out cool. It was on wood and everything, but then I tried to make a digital version of it too.
Nice.
Yeah, and there's another one here too. Like this is a fabric mosaic, and then there's a digital version. Kind of a 2-for-1. This was a rainy night at the studio. I'm not sure why I decided to put a little truck on the sidewalk and give a guitar sitting on it, but there you are. And again, that was all just done on the phone. That is it's called Photoshop Mix. And just kind of mix them in. Here's some more urban anxiety. That might have been the night of the art walk, the first image there. And again, I just kind of went in and swirled. You just kind of swirl around and you get that image. The other image here, we were stuck in traffic, and that was a reflection in a minivan's rear window. I have to correct it. It says minivans. But that was just what you could see on the back window of the car in front of us. So I took the picture at the red light. So I thought, it looks really cool. I just went home and kind of played with the colors and stuff. But the distorted thing was just because it was a reflection. Here's St. Bob's. Bob's Diner in Carnegie has the beautiful church across the street. It could be Mother Russia with some imagination instead of Carnegie. I had to take the cars out, obviously. But that one's been in a couple of shows. It turned out pretty well, printed on metal and everything. And you really can't tell, but it was through like a shade, actually. Here's just another photo with the filter applied. And we're on questions. Questions, comments?
Is it really expensive to get these printed?
It depends on the size and where you go. I'll say it ain't cheap necessarily. It ain't cheap, but again, if you're gonna be in a show or whatever, it's you just work that in if you're gonna sell your piece. I
was just curious.
Yeah, I mean it's not like terribly expensive, but if you start cranking them out, it adds up pretty fast.
Because you have a lot.
Yeah.
If you compare it to framing pieces, it's equivalent.
Okay. When they printed on I noticed how you hung yours. You put like a frame on the back. Did they do that or do you do that?
They do that.
Do they?
It has like the little white frame on the back.
Yeah. I was curious about that.
The wire on.
You put the wire on, but they put the frame on the back.
Yeah.
It's nice.
And it actually comes with, I think a lot of their people that buy them are, consumer. They actually give you it's a little block of wood that you're supposed to screw into your wall, and then it'll sit on the wall and everything.
Okay.
But yeah.
Hey, Jim.
Really nice.
Thanks. Yes.
I have a question. I think one of the things I like about your artwork is your color choice. It's vivid, it's bright, it's just so much fun to look at. What would you say, what do you think is it about your art that judges like?
That's a good question. I wish I really had a definitive answer so I could get more judges to like my stuff. But again, I think I just I try to make stuff look a little bit different, or I do try to go with the color. I've always been fascinated by opposite colors and trying to put them together and, without hurting your eyes or whatever. But yeah, I just try to make things look a little bit different, try to make them stand out a little bit, but thanks. I do like playing with the color a lot.
Yeah, I think that's your strength. I like how you use color.
Cool. Any other questions? Comments? Send me a self-addressed envelope.
I have two questions, Jim.
Sure.
First of all, is that a Highlander mug you're drinking out of?
Oh, actually, no. This is it's Star Trek.
What's it say?
Just to boldly go.
Ah, I thought it said there
But
can be only one. But second, more important question is which of your pieces do you think you've spent or was the most time intensive? Like, which one do you think you've took the longest?
Oh, that's a tough one. It's probably the one that I showed earlier that I ended up going to print, and it was made on a cheesy app, and I couldn't blow it up large enough. See if we can find him here. But yeah, it's funny too. Like some of them, yeah, this one took a long time because I was like going for like a mosaic almost, and that took a good while. Yeah.
Was that Prisma, Jim? Was that Prisma?
Yeah, Prisma.
Yeah, I've used Prisma. I've painted from Prisma.
Yeah, I was like coloring in the different, like because it started that actually would start out was McConnell's Mill, like maybe I'll go back to it here, but it was at McConnell's Mill, and I thought, oh, that would look cool. We put some wildlife in here, So the original thing, it's just a photo of McConnell's Mill with the cat looked really cheesy because it was a bad Photoshop job. I just dragged him in there and stuck him on the rock, and yeah, that was Prisma. I mean, I love how the stuff looks, but I just couldn't get it to blow up. Going in and coloring and stuff. But the other one, it took a pretty long time. Let's see, I'm going the wrong way here. One of the more recent ones that took a good while was it's hanging in Cranberry right now. I started out and I was kind of like drawing this thing and trying to put shapes in, and it was almost like sitting there with the pen and putting all the little dots into it, which, after a while on the phone, I think Deb was ready to kill me because it's like tap, 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 tap. It's going back there. I should have gone out of the show to do this. Let's watch the whole thing backwards. Yay. Oh, here we are. Yeah, this one took a while too because, you could see it's like kind of.
It's really nice piece. Yeah. I like that one a lot.
I was really happy with how it turned out for how it began. Like that middle picture, it looks like I'm like, it was during the winter and it was just kind of a blah time. And I was like, it just isn't happening. But that's what's kind of fun with digital. You can just kind of keep going back. And, I don't know what we had on TV that night. I was mainly just sitting there tapping more dots into it and stuff, but thought it turned out pretty well.
It's the layers that one has that make it so effective. You can tell. I mean, it's like layered.
Yeah. There's definitely. I think I doubled like at some point. I think I doubled it. Like I went into that Photoshop mix and stuck a couple of them together and sort of like slid it around a little bit. I think that's definitely what was going on there.
I have a question, Jim. This is Linda. When we take photos of our paintings to send them in to be juried, I'm always confused by the 300 DPI and 360. I'm really not, I don't know that technology. If we're just taking a regular photograph from our phone and we're going close to the actual painting, trying not to get the frame, and we click it, is that 300 DPI? I mean, how do we know? I mean, is that acceptable or?
That's where you need. I mean, if you're just taking a picture of it to send to to enter a show, you're fine doing that way. If you were going to take that picture and you were going to try and do something digitally with it and blow it up or whatever, you would have to have some kind of photo app that you could save it at 300 DPI. Like your phone's probably not going to take it at that resolution.
Yeah, I've sent a few paintings to Easy Canvas prints, and I've only got as large as 16 by 20. And whatever photograph I took from my cell phone is what I sent into them. And that came out okay. But you're saying if I wanted a larger, it might be sketchy. It might not work out.
Yeah, that's where you might run into trouble. Sometimes what I'll do if I'm not sure, well, generally I'll go on a computer and open a photo app and just make sure it's 300 DPI. But if you're on your phone, you can kind of like blow the picture up really large on your phone and you'll see it grade. Like when it gets really big, you'll kind of notice like if it's not gonna, it'll get blurry on you.
Yeah, I just didn't know whether there was, I don't know how you pick. I mean, how would I take a photo from my cell phone to send it to a company to get it enlarged? I mean, how would I know how do you even dial that in? 300 DPI, what is it, 600, 400? I don't know.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed when you're trying to attach a photo to an email, or if you're trying to send it, it'll ask you if you want to send it small, medium, large.
Yes.
You always want to go with the largest one.
Oh, okay. I never knew which one to pick.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
the largest one is going to say original size. Large may actually be smaller than the original size.
Yeah, you want the bottom one always, the biggest one.
Go big.
Okay. I always hit actual. So you're saying I should
actual.
Hit...
You're right.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the right one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because you do have that choice, to go larger, smaller, or actual. So I just hit.
And that's a good point too. Like some of the apps, it's tricky. I have one. I can't remember the name of the app, but it's like a painting app, and it'll do that. It'll give you the different sizes, but it's deceiving because like if you just say large, it's not the largest.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And you don't know.
Yeah, they're fooling you, and and I'm lucky I have the Photoshop on the computer. It's you can just. It's real easy to go in and change the size of it and make sure it's the right size. But yeah, if you're just on your phone, it's a little trickier.
Yes. And what Photoshop or Adobe, what's your favorite, the most versatile? What program do you use? Because you cut out and I didn't hear what you said previously.
I like there's a couple. One's called Adobe Sketch, which it's cool. It's basically like, it reminds me of pastels a little bit. And I also like it's Photoshop Mix and Photoshop Fix.
Mix and fix.
Because that's where you can double your things and you can sort of like layer them, and Fix is fun. You can swirl the image. That's where all the warped things come from. I'll put it in Fix. Really, you're breaking it in Fix. You're breaking a nice photo up actually, but those
the
are
application that I would use this for is like when I'm doing a composition, whether it's a still life or whatever, a landscape. If you want to remove an object, like you have removed power lines and leashes on the dog.
Yeah.
That's what I would mainly do this for, so I can look at something that's not going to pull my eyes away, like that, car that shouldn't be in it, if I'm doing a landscape. So do you think the Adobe Sketch or Fix for my applications, what would be the best if you just want to remove it?
Probably Adobe Fix.
Okay.
That would let you that. It also has like clone stamping, so that's one way to get rid of like the dog's leash. I think I found a spot near where the leash was and just kind of cloned over it and got rid of it. Yeah, I think it's good for that. And the other nice thing on there, I mean, any of the photo editing things will do that, but you have your image you're going to make a painting out of too. You can crop, like, I like this part, I don't like this part. You can crop that out. You can play with the color, even before. Yeah, I think a lot of people would do that kind of stuff with it too.
The farthest I got on photographs and editing, just what's on the cell phone, especially if it's on our vacation, I like to crop out the side of my thigh. So
there you go. Adobe Fix is great for that kind of thing.
And much cheaper than surgery. Much cheaper.
Definitely.
I had an unflattering picture. I was playing a show, and I had my head turned a certain way, and it made my head look really big. So I actually did go in there, and there's a little shrinking tool. I like blew up the picture, and I shrunk my neck a little bit. I was like, I can't lose 10 pounds, but I can make it look like it. Gosh, golly.
I'm not the only one. Thank you for that.
Yeah, good for cropping out stuff like that.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Jim?
Yeah.
Are all those programs that you just talked about, are they all, do you purchase them all separately?
Let's see. Maybe I'll go to their. I have what's called Adobe Creative Suite, and it just throws. You just get all of them.
Creative Cloud, yeah.
Yeah, Creative Cloud. That's it. Yeah.
Creative Cloud.
But I'm pretty sure you can buy. They have different things you can buy. Like I forget. I think it's called Photoshop Express or something like that. It has a lot of the tools, but like not everything. But yeah, I was very lucky. I got it through work, and like I said, I hated it when I first had it because my computer would take 20 minutes to load the thing, and it would show all the names of the people who wrote the software, and you're like, okay, who cares? But now it's much faster.
Jim, how would you compare that to what Procreate does?
I just downloaded Procreate, but it looks really good. That might be something to try. I think Procreate, at least the version that I picked up just from my iPhone, was pretty reasonable too. Like, yeah, a lot. I think it's a lot less expensive.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully I'll have an update on that.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to chime in for a second, Photoshop Elements is the less expensive version of Photoshop. It's like 4 or 5 versions back on what you get in the more expensive cloud. But you know, it's a decent place to start, although Procreate costs a lot less.
Yeah, Elements, that was it. I was trying to think of the name of it. I work with a guy he plays around on that, but he really he has Photoshop Elements, and he's really happy with it because again, I think it has pretty much all the tools in it. But
yeah, it has everything that you would have had several years ago. You know, it is a full version of Photoshop, but it's not kept up with the absolute latest things.
Not all the latest bells and whistles.
Right.
Which isn't always a bad thing.
Right.
Yeah, and the only other thing I was going to touch on a little bit too, you know, I have a James Tobin art website, which right now they're putting ads on it for some reason. I have to fix that, but digital art, you know, I'd say save it at 300 DPI and all that. But if you're going to show it online, it's the opposite. You don't want to go that. You don't want it to be that big. Your web page will never load. But it's tricky too if you're trying to share that online. You know, I don't worry about it too much because I'm not a big time or anything. But you know, anybody can right click and save your picture. There's always that chance putting it out there. So again, if I put it online, I try to make it lower res so that, you know, if they do steal it, they can't really do anything with it. But you know, it's fun to share, and I really appreciate having the opportunity to talk about this stuff because people look at me like I'm a Martian sometimes. Like, what is that? You're digital? People are either like that, or sometimes they're like, oh, that's photography, or that's craft. I'm like, not really crafts unless I glue macaroni to it. But you know, you know, it's like anything when you're putting your art out there, you kind of have to have a thick skin, and you know, if this judge doesn't like it, maybe the next one will.
It was very informative, Jim. I didn't know how you did it, so I'm glad you did this talk.
Oh, yeah, I really appreciated it as well. It's a good talk.
Thank you very much, Jim.
I have a question.
Noelle?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
I have a question. I have a question about behind you, all the interesting backdrop behind you. I don't know that I see any of your digital work behind you.
Oh yeah. Well, actually no. This is our attic, and during the pandemic, it became my office. But before that, it was just a place where my guitars live, and that's actually just a big hippie backdrop that we had from somewhere. But yeah, I don't really have anything hanging up here. It's all at the studio and downstairs. But you know, it's nice things are finally reopening. We're actually getting stuff out into the shows again too. We can actually walk around the studio. The art was really piling up there. Yeah, you have a point though. I need to put some of my stuff here.
Yes.
Well, if no other questions for Jim, thanks everybody.